Hello, Geneva. Welcome back to the Sports Shield podcast. Today is Friday, February 4th, and last week was the championship matchups in the NFL.
Yep. We'll dive right in. First matchup we'll talk about is Bengals versus Chiefs. The Bengals pull off the upset against the Chiefs, scoring 24 unanswered points or 24-3 run in the second half to win the game over the Chiefs.
I mean, a lot of people are giving a lot of credit to Joe Burrow, but I mean, there is a lot to go onto that defense. Holding Patrick Mahomes in the second half to 3 points, I believe it was. In the second half, this is one of the most prolific offenses we have seen in a while. And holding them at 3 points is just insane. So I give a lot of credit to this defense. And defense wins championships.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes did not play good, in my opinion. He effectively did end the game when he threw the pick, but he also almost didn't allow them to go to overtime when he fumbled and almost knocked them out of field goal range. So not a great look for the Chiefs, but they'll be back next year.
He had a fumble in the final few minutes of the game, including overtime. He had a fumble, a dropped interception by Eli Apple that would have most likely been a pick six, and then an interception to give the Bengals the ball back, which was just insane. Patrick Mahomes just didn't have a good second half, and the Bengals really figured him out.
Yeah. And the other championship matchup was the Rams versus the 49ers. This was a very close game. The Niners had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and Matthew Stafford pulled it out.
I was really wanting the 49ers to win this. I was all in on the 49ers. I was going to be so happy if they won it. I really wanted to see a Bengals 49ers. So both of my picks from last week were right. But Jimmy G's injured still a little bit. He didn't look right. And on that final drive, he threw that interception or fumble, one of the two. Close, like one or the other. And it was just so close. And the Rams ended up coming away with it.
Yeah, I felt this game started with the Rams defense. They held the 49ers to 50 rushing yards, which is insane considering they got Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell, and that insane run scheme by Kyle Shanahan. So I think the credit goes to the Rams defense. And then in the fourth quarter, Matthew Stafford proved that he could show up in big situations and big games and put the game away, proving that he was obviously an upgrade over Jared Goff.
In the end, I'm also happy to see Matthew Stafford win it. I mean, he has been in a horrible position on the Lions for 10 years, well, more than 10 years, almost 12 years now, I believe. He was on the Lions. And in his first year, I'm happy to see him go to the Super Bowl.
All right, now we'll talk about a huge story in the NFL. Brian Flores files a lawsuit against the NFL and 3 NFL teams. He claims racism in the hiring, and he also claims that his owner from the Miami Dolphins paid him to throw games. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so I think the throwing games part is something that has happened a lot before that we just really haven't heard about. I think it's always been a part of the sport. I mean, it's an issue that needs to be challenged. Like the NBA has it figured out with the rolling the dice, the lottery to get first overall picks and all that. The NBA has that figured out, but the NFL doesn't. So tanking is much more common, which I think it's an issue. But the big one was the fact that racism in hiring. So there's a rule against you have to interview a minority head coach, and supposedly Brian Flores was being interviewed by the Bears, the Giants, and the Broncos. And the Broncos and the Giants are the two big ones he's filing him against. Because supposedly they had already made their choice while he was getting interviewed, and they hired him just to fulfill that rule so they wouldn't get fined.
Yes, actually, Bill Belichick was the one who revealed this to him. But this is a very big story. If this ends up going through, this could change the landscape of the NFL. I mean, this is the first time we've ever heard of anyone coming out and saying that owners are trying to fix NFL games. And if this is true, I would say that the Miami Dolphins owner and even the Browns owner is going to have to step down because they are both being accused of fixing games.
Yeah, because Hugh Jackson supposedly was told that during one of their seasons, well, many seasons where they had like 4 wins over 3 seasons, that he was being paid to throw games also. I think it's just a really big deal that needs to be talked about a lot more, and I think there's an issue with it.
Yeah. On a similar note, Tom Brady retires from the NFL after 22 seasons. Obviously, a Hall of Fame career, probably the GOAT in most people's eyes. 7 Super Bowls, a whole list of records. I think it was a great career. I thought he would come back for next season, though, coming
Yeah.
off of this great year.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady's undoubtedly the GOAT. I don't think the GOAT doesn't mean the best player of all time. He is the greatest. 7 Super Bowl rings. That's pretty much unheard of. As a player, I don't think anybody even comes close to that. It's insane what he's done. His longevity throughout his career is something else. His lifestyle, the TB12 lifestyle, will be something that we'll be hearing about for a while in these next few months. Talking about the fact that he was 45 and still playing at an elite level in the NFL. He was top 3, I believe, in most of the passing stats this season as a 45-year-old. I mean, it is just insane what he did. And I think we're going to see his record stay unbroken for a very long time, career-wise at least.
Yes, he's put himself in a category of his own, obviously, with those 7 Super Bowl rings. So it'll be interesting to see who puts up a fight on those stats. And to finish it off, we'll talk about the Washington football team, or should we call them the Washington Commanders now? I personally don't see how this name is any better than their previous one, but
At least you could joke about their last one. I mean, with the Commanders, they spent almost 2 years, 2 full seasons under the Washington football team name. They had so many good options to take. There were just so many things that they could have done. And they decided to go with a basic name like the Commanders, which is literally taken straight from an AAF team, a football league from 1.5 years ago, a spring league kind of for football. That they literally took the name and they took the exact same hashtag. If you go onto Twitter, you can just see everything. It's just crazy. Like, it's literally the exact same stuff. It looks like a ripoff from an NFL team.
yeah, it's the choices that they had were definitely better than this one. So this is very surprising for me. And that's all we have for you today. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.